All right, so I was in a forum the other day talking about setups and everything, and this is my in-ear setup that I use. Now I play in original bands, I play in tribute bands, I play in cover bands. I do pickup gigs, I do fill-in gigs. So this setup here kind of allows me to do everything, right? So I'll start, I guess, just kind of with how stuff is coming in and going out, right? So over here, you'll see that I have an XLR in. This is coming in from the board. So this would be like if the monitor feed was going into a regular monitor, right? You would unplug that XLR and then just plug it right into here. Bam. Now you have a feed going into your ears that you can control your own volume on, depending on what you want, what you have going on. So that way you don't have to worry about the sound guy turning you up and down and everything. So that's super nice. Also, this is a 6-channel mixer technically, but you see I have 2 for XLRs. That's because sometimes, depending on what gig I'm doing, I have these hooks here that slide underneath the cab in the head, and then I've got SM57s on them, and I'll run those into here so I can get the guitars in there, and then I can just like DI a bass or something into it if I want to, but usually the bass player's cab's close to me so I can hear it anyways, not a problem. And then I just kind of mix to suit myself. That's what I usually do for like bar gigs, fill-in gigs, pretty much any gigs that I don't need like tracks or anything for. I'll run those cabs and stuff. Now if I'm running tracks, what I'll do is I'll run left and right and then do a DI box that goes out. So these 2 DI boxes live in my case. So this is typically what my case when it comes out of, when I open it up, looks like, right? Is I don't have any of these here set up. So this is typically what it looks like. It breaks down like this. I just put these in here and then close it down, ready to go, with the power supply and the power surge protector and everything. So my tracks, all right, I'll run one side into the DI box from an iPad that's usually sitting right here. One side goes into my mixer, one side goes into the DI box. The out of the DI box for the other side goes into another channel, so I can mix in how much of like front of house tracks that I want. So if I want, to hear the full front of house tracks, or if I only want the click, I can kind of adjust those levels. Or if I want just a little bit of the front of house stuff and everything, I can have that. So then I have my headphone jack here. I have an extra long cable sometimes, because sometimes if I stand up or something or kind of walk a little bit, it's nice than just being like directly tethered to it. But I can do that as well. I've got an adapter here so I can come onto it, and I can just be like hardlined straight to it, short lease or whatever. So, and then this one runs tracks, right? This one goes to my TM2. So move these out of the way. So these here, right, are just XLR wirelesses. So I can just plug them into here and then go to my SM57. I don't have to worry about a cord or anything, right? So it doesn't matter where the cabs are positioned on stage or how far back the drums are or anything. Like, I can just run those and I'm good to go. I've never had any problem with interference from anybody or anything. So those are kind of nice. Saves a little bit of just like cord time, and you have to worry about like where the cabs are. So this box runs my TM2, which I have 2 triggers set up for, right? So I've got trigger 1 and trigger 2. Now, with this, I can either do triggers for the pedals, or I can run, what I'll do is I'll run like a bar 1 or a bar 2 roll-in trigger, so then I can trigger claps or sub drops or extra snares or whatever. Like I can kind of have that, so it works for if I'm doing like a cover gig, pop gig or something, if I'm doing like a bar band or whatever. And I can have, like, oh, we need, this sound or whatever for the intro, or we want to have like, some extra like claps and stuff or whatever. I can run it off of that. Or if I go to play a gig and I've got, playing doubles or something or whatever with the triggers, with the pedals, boom, I can load it into that and it works. So, and then this all just kind of folds up into itself. So this is kind of like my workhorse, all in one kind of thing, just a backup felt. Gets the job done. I can do pretty much everything with it that I need. I can just kind of like show up with this briefcase and I'm ready to go, which is nice, like not having to have a bunch of things hanging around or anything like that. So I'll fold this up in here. This kind of gets wrapped in there. So usually I wrap those up. I only have one hand right now, so not going to be super nice, but all right, this is my feed for my pedals, or for my power, which I want to mount at some point to the top of this because I did do the measurements and it can work and everything. So that is nice, but whoa, so it's nice to have a camera stand. But I kind of just want to do this, like, I don't want to do a whole production thing, and like I'm so sick of like YouTubes where it's just like all the channels and all the fucking subscriptions and all the ads and yada yada and whatever, like it's production and I've got a sick intro and all this stuff, and it's like, man, just fucking tell me the shit, like I don't need a fucking 20-minute video. You can fucking say in 10 minutes, even this is longer than really needs to be, I suppose. Slide that out of the way. But boom, there it is. This is my rig for my in-ears, for bar gigs, for filling gigs, for everything. Just runs right in there. So this actually goes into here, and then in here I also keep my pedals. I keep this stuff, right? I keep my hooks and my SM57s in there. So my drum pedals go in there, my stool top goes in there, my throne top goes in there, all my backup parts, extra parts, for wing nuts and all that stuff go in there. I can keep an extra snare head in there. Everything folds up into this, and then when I get to the gig, I open it up, everything kind of comes out that I need, and whatever I don't need, I throw back in there, I close it up, and this goes on there, and then boom, it becomes my table to hold this. It's perfect height for me to be able to reach over and control stuff when I want to control it. If I need to change the volume or something or whatever, I open it up, go to my power, plug in my tracks or whatever I need. So, which is really nice because some sound guys are like, oh, well, I've got a radial and I have to use a radial. Radials are great, super clean. Like, don't dog anybody for that. But it is nice when you just have. I feel like a lot of people really appreciate already having the DIs, and you're like, I just need 2 XLRs or 1 XLR out. That's all I need. And they're like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, not a problem. Here's 2 XLRs, bam. Nowadays, most places have enough channels with digital mixers where there's not a problem with needing only 1 versus 2 or whatever. So, but again, like, playing a bar gig or something or whatever, I don't necessarily, if they don't want claps, if they don't want that stuff or whatever, it's like I just run 1. I don't run any, actually, if they don't want claps or anything. There's no tracks. It's just literally me using this side for my own monitor feed. So it's just like I just need a flat front of house sound or whatever, and I'll adjust it to where I can just barely hear it over my drums and everything to kind of keep me in the mix and feeling real. If I crank it too much, I feel like it gets over. It gets kind of overbearing to where like I'm compensating on the drums trying to play over the monitor feed. So I prefer to have control over this way where I can just kind of just barely get it above my drum sound to where I feel like it's playing with the band, not on top of the band. Yeah. That's what happens when you have stuff everywhere. So, but anyway, that's my that's kind of my setup rig and stuff. It's super simple. I think this case was, I don't know, maybe $100 on Amazon or something or whatever. You can pull out everything so you can shape it however you want to. The other side of this has all the plugs on it. Those run underneath and through all this stuff, so that way it's nice and tight and clean. Doesn't really move around when I send stuff out or whatever. There's enough space in the cap here so where these don't get really like fucked up and pushed down a whole lot. And then, like I said, I like to mount this up here, kind of do a little cutout and stuff. I've done the measurements, it'll work. And then just like run a extra long thing off of that if I have to. So, and then it's just controlling, you know, headphones from here out or whatever. Another nice thing with this too is that if you want, also, what you can do is you can actually take your aux sends from this board, right? So if I move this stuff out of the way so you can kind of see what's going on, is I can actually send like aux stuff out from here, and I can send it to like someone's in-ears, like a guitar player's in-ears, if he wants to hear everything that I'm hearing, you know, if he wants to click and stuff or whatever, you know, or if I want to just go with the mains out, you know, I can send the mains out left and right, and kind of do it that way. So there's multiple kind of ways to send stuff, which is nice for like one or two people or whatever. I've done that before, which was kind of a cool thing that I didn't really think about. He's like, oh, could you just send me like the feed on that, and I'll just throw it in my in-ears, and then I can mix it down with, I don't remember what kind of shares he had or whatever, but I was like, yeah, I can totally do that. So we just sent it out from the aux end, and then mixed in, you know, it's like, what do you want? And he's just like, I just flat everything. So then I just kind of, you know, gave him a little bit of everything. I didn't give him my monitor feed, obviously. I just gave him the 2 tracks and just kind of balanced them out or whatever. So yeah, that's it. This was probably another $100 maybe, but you can get a smaller one too. I used to have one that was just like one XLR. I think it was like a 4-channel, maybe 5-channel. One XLR, and then it was 2 duals stages, and that was even smaller, which gave me more room. So it's pretty cheap to be able to do it, really. You know, these DI boxes were just like Guitar Center brand DI boxes or whatever, and I've never had anybody complain about them being noisy or anything or not working. You know, like I've never had any issues with them. They've just been living in there since I've had them for, you know, like a year and a half now. And this board is just a mix 8 or whatever. I just wanted the 2 XLR so I could do both guitars, really. That was kind of the big thing with that. Why I went that route and went up from the single XLR chain, just when like running the 57s and stuff. So, and it's cool when you can do tracks and you can do like claps and stuff and everything or whatever, you know. If you set up your stuff beforehand for like, you know, running tracks or whatever, people, you can be like, oh well, I've got that intro, or you can actually do that intro. And people are like, oh, you can? Well, that's sweet, you know. Like, makes you feel and seem a little more professional, and people will see that and kind of be more comfortable, especially when it comes to like fill-in gigs and everything and stuff, because that's really the big thing when it comes to like a fill-in gig, is like you're just there to like make the show go, and you want the guys performing to be like as comfortable and as confident in you as possible. So having kind of like this setup and everything, people go, oh wow, like that's legit or whatever, you know. And granted, most people nowadays, you know, have their setups and everything, or have in-ears and, you know, run X32s and all that shit and everything. But yeah, it's a simpler kind of way, and then I'm never really worrying about like getting volumes up and down. And if I get just a flat mix, like it's enough to be able to tell what's going on and where I am and everything. So, and then this, you know, this is just a SKB hard shell case. I think it's a 10 rack, I believe, 10U. So yeah, that's my rig. Hopefully you guys kind of found this helpful, gave you some ideas, gave you some inspiration, and yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. I guess feel free to find me on social medias or whatever, or like I'll tell anybody any information that I've learned over the years. I've been doing this a long time. I'm old. Anyways, See you later.